Happy New Year, everyone. 2024, if you can believe it. But it's great to have you guys here with us today. Let's celebrate 2023 and look at the future. Let's talk a little Cody Bellinger and what the Cubs' options might be to get a left-handed bat if they can't secure the guy that really helped the Cubs last year get to the cusp of the postseason. Welcome to the Cubs Baseball Channel. I'm Mick Gillispie. Let's get this party started. Let's do it here on New Year's Day 2024. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillispie here at Broadcaster Mick on the socials. Want to thank the Tennessee Smokies for supporting our channel and remind you that now is a good time to go check out their team store and get some new swag. It's always good. You got all that holiday money. You might as well spend it on something. All right, let's talk about the Cubs and spending money, something that they didn't do so far this free agency, although that could change any day. And if they want to get Shota Imanaga, they're going to have to do that before the 11th of January, or he's going back to the Bay Stars, or someone else is going to sign him in the U.S. But that's his posting, and they've got to get that figured out in a relatively short amount of time. And they want a starting pitcher. I'm sure they want more than one. Jed Hoyer learned from Theo Epstein, and Theo, I mean, how many times did he say it? You got to have 8 starters, not just 5, right? And he's exactly right. And over the course of time, when you have that many starters, when guys go down, you just pop another guy in there. And so that's something that the Cubs are going to need. And when they had, a healthy rotation last year, they were pretty good. They had a pretty good rotation. Marcus Stroman opted out, so they're trying to replace him. We've talked about that on the channel, and we'll see what happens there. But it's a competitive market for pitching. It always has been, and it always will be. The problem the Cubs have is they're just starting to develop a couple, starters. But I don't think anyone's at that point now where they're ready to go and take that job. Now, I could be wrong. You get to spring training, and maybe Ben Brown, comes in and he's ready to be a Chris Sale type of guy, or maybe Cade Horton comes in and he looks like someone that's ready to drop the hammer on big leaguers, and that could happen. And that's a good problem to have if those guys become ready to make an impact, right? And you saw it last year with Jordan Wicks. Can he continue what he did last year? Changing speeds and the other part for him is that teams have seen him now. They got video on him. How's he going to adjust, or is he going to keep on doing what he did? So we hope all of those guys do well, but I still see them going out there and making a big time signing as far as a starter is concerned, or maybe a trade. That could happen too. But the big deal to me, besides that, is what are they going to do for a left-handed bat? And the market is kind of turning in a way where you feel like the Cubs have a great shot at signing Cody Bellinger. Now, the San Francisco Giants could be in that mix. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on San Francisco to try to make some moves to keep up with their arch rival, the Dodgers. And even though they went out and signed a center fielder, I could still see them making a move to bring in a Cody Bellinger, just to be like, hey, look, we're trying to keep up with these Dodgers, and here's our guy now. And that wouldn't be a bad move. As far as the Cubs are concerned, though, I think Cody Bellinger knows what the Cubs bring to the table. He has won the city over. Cubs fans like us love him, and we would love to have him back in the lineup. And I think he knows how important it is to have the people behind him, the fans. And I think that the front office likes him too. It's just a matter of dollars and cents, right? Say that doesn't work out, though. What are the Cubs going to do? And I've been thinking about this. They're going to have to go out and get a left-handed bat and some options. Joc Pederson. Remember Joc Pederson? He came over, had a really good season for the Cubs, and then he was traded to Atlanta a few years ago and helped win the World Series for the Braves. And then he signed with the Giants, and now he's available. He got off to a really good start last year and then had some injuries and fell off and kind of looked like the guy that struggled so much with the Dodgers. And so he's a guy that maybe healthy comes back and kind of does the things that we saw him do in the past. That's an option. How about Joey Votto? I mean, has anybody ever mentioned Joey Votto, the longtime Red? I mean, he was like Mr. Red and signed that long-term deal, and now he's a free agent. The Reds aren't going to sign him. You know, if the Cubs got into a spot, I mean, look, I know a lot of you guys are going to be like screaming at me right now. No. If it got into a spot and, you know, you had to have kind of a bridge guy to help you get Matt Mervis ready. I know Joey, he's a great guy. And maybe he's the kind of mentor that a guy like Matt Mervis would love to have, because I'm sure that he would take that and run with it. And I remember Joey Votto coming up as a minor leaguer and struggling and really having to figure things out. But he's the kind of guy that I could see, you know, there's not a big market for Joey Votto right now. And I think that it would be different than, you know, what the Cubs did last season with Eric Hosmer and Trey Mancini, because I think if you brought him in and you said, hey, look, you know, we want you to help us left side, maybe do some DHing, but work with Matt Mervis, help him get ready to be a first baseman in the big leagues. And if that doesn't work out, maybe you even do the same thing with Hayden McGarry, who is a catcher converted to first base and honestly played some of the worst first base I've ever seen, but can hit. And that's not a shot at him. I mean, you're talking about a guy that was a catcher, and then he's playing first base. And honestly, he worked hard and got a lot better over the course of last season. I just don't see a scenario where McGarry would be ready this year to play first base defensively. But he's an exciting guy. He's so big and strong, and he's in the analytics crowd loves him because of his exit velo. So, you know, we'll see there. But Joey Votto is another left-handed option that you could possibly bring in, say, if you don't have Bellinger, and then maybe you go and spend your money somewhere else. Hey, I'm going to go get Matt Chapman. Obviously, if you signed Rhys Hoskins, then you wouldn't sign Joey Votto. But, I mean, this is the kind of the market right now once you get past Cody Bellinger. And for the Cubs, if they don't sign Bellinger, then that tells me that they feel like the in-house options are going to be there eventually. So maybe next year, which is really this year, right? Because we're in 2024 now. So this year coming up, maybe this is the year where you just you take it on the backside a little bit, because you got to bring all of these guys up that you have in AAA and start working them into the big leagues. And that's why you got Craig Counsell. I don't think any of us want that scenario. What we want to see is those guys come up and be part of a winner instead of coming up and being part of a roster that struggles, right? And that's the tough part about a youth movement. But the Cubs have a lot of players that are coming up through this system right now, and they're going to play in Chicago or they're going to play somewhere else. And it's all going to depend on where the opportunities are. And you could see some more trades. Now is the time to make trades if you're going to get rid of some of your farm guys, right? Do it now where you get better value than, you know, waiting until the deadline like they did last year and being in a spot where you're desperate to try to get a relief pitcher or, you know, an extra bat or something, and you're giving up way too much to get way too little back in return, you know. And I even heard that there were people on the big league staff last year, maybe David Ross, that were even upset about the fact they didn't make more moves. And I'm sure there's a lot of you guys that kind of feel the same way. And you know, they could have used a little bit more help, but how much are you going to give up in that market last year? And it was a seller's market last year. So, you know, they got the better deals. Buyers, absolutely horrible deals last year. And you're going to see some of those other trades. It wasn't just the Cubs that I feel got fleeced. The Cardinals picked the right year to stink, because them making some moves, they got some really good players back in return. and so did the Mets. Anyway, that's where we are right now. Get in that comment section like you guys always do, and let me know what you think. I love the conversation about Trevor Bauer. You guys have been passionate about that subject. A lot of you guys, it's not necessarily what happened with MLB and the ex-girlfriend that was trying to basically blackmail him over false charges to make money that bothers you guys. And that's the reason that he ended up getting kicked out of baseball. And MLB's investigation, an absolute joke, because when the truth came out, they were way off. And that's scary to me because you're ending people's careers. You say you do an investigation and you got it figured out. And I don't think it's the first time either. There's always two sides to every story. You want to make sure that if you're coming down on a player, that you're getting it right. No one wants these guys out there, doing domestic violence and stuff like that. But at the same time, if you're going to get blamed for that, it doesn't need to be a case where someone's just trying to extort you for millions of dollars. And that's what happened to Bauer. Now, with that said, I'm familiar with Bauer. I know that he's a unique cat. Trust me, I got firsthand knowledge of what, kind of his personality. And he's a guy that definitely bounces to the beat of his own drum, but that doesn't make him a bad guy. And then the other thing is all of the trouble that he's had in the past, he's still been a great pitcher. Think about the workplace and think about, whether you go to church or you're involved in sports, there's always someone that you might not always see eye to eye with. But if they perform and they add to the team, you normally figure out a way to deal with it. I just feel like this guy's been beaten down so much. The longest suspension in baseball history. He got suspended, for like 2 seasons. The guys that cheated to win the World Series didn't get suspended 1 day, which is crazy to me. Even steroids guys didn't get punished like this guy, and it was false. So there's a part of me, whether it's the Cubs or another team, that want to see him get an opportunity to return to the major leagues. And I feel like, look, if he's coming back, might as well put him in a Cubs uniform and let him go out there and win 20 games for us instead of being somewhere else. So anyway, thank you guys, though, for all of your comments on that. And, we'll keep following that. I really got a feeling that maybe Major League Baseball is blackballing him, and it could be because they know that they're going to get sued by him. I mean, I don't know. But I did see the video, and I do know that he was extorted, and I know that Major League Baseball messed this all up. So that's the bottom line. And they're the ones that are going to pay a price for that and probably in the courts eventually, but maybe not. Who knows? Anyway, thanks for hanging out with us. Happy New Year. Let's get started 2024 with some free agent signings, right? Isn't that what you guys want? That would be funny if it did happen, but we'll talk tomorrow unless something breaks today. Have a happy New Year. Have a safe New Year, guys. And thanks again for being here. Go Cubs.